This is a very quick summary, overview of the speaking. 4 parts, different task types, interaction with the examiner, with the interlocutor, interaction with your partner. So there are different types of interaction going on, and also opportunities to speak on your own. For more information, please check the QR code. And what is the objective of the speaking exam? Well, to be able to show your ability to communicate effectively at C1. And what does this mean, right? Again, we're going to see this transition between Eva, it is the same QR code you've seen before to the handout, to the handbook for teachers, sorry. Thank you, David. So we're going to see the transition between a B2 and a C1. Right, so what is the difference between a B2, which is a band 1, and a C1, which is a band 3? Look at that. Here we are talking about range, variety of grammar, okay? Simple and some complex. Variety again of lexis, of vocabulary for familiar and unfamiliar topics. In terms of discourse management, how much we hesitate. There is always hesitation. How much? Are your ideas organized clearly? Are you using cohesive devices and discourse markers? Discourse markers, like, you see, actually, basically, okay, things that keep you going and make your speech a bit more natural if you want. Pronunciation, here we are talking about intelligibility, right? So we're not talking about native accents. Interactive communication, how you link your initiate, respond, and link your ideas to your partner's ideas, and the support that you need. And then global achievement, which is an overall idea or a global vision of your performance. How should we approach speaking part 1? Be prepared, for sure. Be ready to answer questions about you, about your past experiences, about the future, but don't memorize them, okay? They will notice examiners are trained, they have a lot of experience, and they will realize when you are giving a memorized answer. So please don't do that. Give full answers, for sure, but remember that in this part, you're not expected to speak for too long. Respond promptly and naturally as well. And try to use a variety of tenses, structures, and vocabulary. And here you have an idea of the tenses that you may be expected to use, and some vocabulary. No surprises here. I think you are going to talk about yourself. Aspects to bear in mind in part 2. Here we are talking about part 2. There are 3 pictures, but you need to choose 2. You need to compare and contrast. So we are going beyond the description. You also need to answer 2 questions, and you need to be ready to speculate. And let's look at what the difference it makes to use modal verbs and some structures to express speculation, right? So look at this answer and look at this answer. Much more developed, much more sophisticated as well in terms of the use of modal verbs and other structures, right? So it really makes a difference. And this is what you should be aiming for in this part of the exam. Yes, Pablo, I thought that too, that it was quite a good way to see the difference, right, between what is more basic answer and then a more advanced answer, if you want. How to approach part 2, recommendations. Choose the right pictures. What is right for you, the ones you can talk about, the ones you feel comfortable with. Refer to the questions on the paper and compare and contrast, bearing these questions in mind. Try to come up with 2 or 3 points maybe that you want to discuss. And if you're running out of ideas, relate the photos to your experience, connect the pictures. Okay, so try to think about, connect it to what you know, and you have to speak for about a minute. There are no, I mean, as you see, there is no, I mean, there is no magic recipe or anything like that. Like, these are just things that you know, but I think it's good to have them as reminders of what needs doing. Like, there is nothing new that we are going to tell you, but it's good as a reminder, as a checklist. Useful language. Again, what we have already seen, cohesive devices to express consequence, to express contrast, adjectives to describe feelings, situations, activities, and then modal verbs as well to express speculation. Part 3. In part 3, I'm going to start with something that may be surprising because, right, active listening, but we are in a speaking exam. Yes, you need to listen carefully because you need to understand the instructions. Listen carefully to the examiner so you know what you have to do. Listen carefully to your partner so you can react. The part 2 slide, this one, Iman. So as I said, I'm going to continue talking about part 3. Listen carefully to the examiner, to your partner. So you can also connect your ideas to your partner's ideas if appropriate. You can react to what they are saying and you can show you are interested. Eye contact, body language. This is not going to be marked as such, but I think it creates a positive atmosphere. It shows the other person that you are interested, that you care for what they say, of what they say. So I think it's just good practice in general. In terms of how to approach part 3, eye contact, body language, we've already talked about. Respond to your partner before moving on. Okay, so if they have asked you a question, make sure you answer, and then you move on to the next point. Refer to what they said, as you said. That's a good sign. It means that you've been listening, and then you can develop this idea a bit further. Remember that the objective is that to see how you interact. So there is no point in just dominating the conversation. That's not what we want at this part of the exam, in this part of the exam. Remember to always finish prompting your partner to take over. Okay, so what do you think? What's your view? Do you agree? And remember that you need to discuss the ideas together. Okay, you are in this together. And then very briefly, some of the language that you need to use. Miriam, I think it's good to have a balance, to initiate and respond the conversation. It's good to keep the balance. Part 4. Part 4, it's an opportunity to discuss maybe broad topics, generation gap, social issues, These are just examples. Remember that as in the rest of the exam, there are no right or wrong answers. We are not testing you on your ideas. Remember to develop your ideas with the main idea, reason, example, and refer to your partner's ideas when suitable. Okay, so try to do that if it's appropriate. It's just another opportunity to continue developing what you have already mentioned. And then moving on to your questions quite quickly, so we have some time for the Q&A. What happens if you finish before the exam, before the minute or before the 2 minutes? Remember, it's positive marking, okay? So we don't penalize you for these kind of things. Of course, we want you to have to take all the time that you have to show what you know. So try to speak for as long as you can. But it's very important that you are showing variety, complexity, accuracy. So it's not the quantity, but the quality as well. And maybe it's good idea that you practice so you know how long 1 minute feels or 2 minutes feel, because it can feel very long sometimes. What happens with your partner, if they are shy, if they dominate? Well, our examiners are experienced, they are trained to try to give the candidates same opportunities to talk and show what they know. So please don't worry about that. Of course, remember that examiners can only assess what you show them in the exam. So even if you're shy, we all understand you are in an exam situation, but try to speak, because that's the only way we have to assess what you know. And then there were a lot of questions about confidence and being shy and how to act, how to behave in a speaking exam when you are shy. And I think it comes to confidence and understanding that you are understanding the task and understanding the context. Make sure you know what you need to do in each part of the exam. Make sure you are familiar with the exam material. Think about the elements of the exam situation, the examiners, the fact that there are 2 candidates, the time for each part of the test. Try to become familiar with the exam format, watching the videos, making sure you practice and taking advantage of self-assessment and peer assessment. This video about the examiners talking about speaking tests is definitely my favorite. It's quite old now, I think, but it is always relevant. To practice, we've got the handbook with questions, so you can become familiar with them. There are also some more fun activities like word wall that you may want to try. Give it a try. For self-assessment, you may want to use the success criteria that I shared earlier on, and here you've got it here as well. For part 2, remember to practice using the mock exams, pictures that you see on the newspaper, magazines, record yourself, and then assess your performance. That's maybe the best way to understand, okay, hesitation, maybe the sounds that you said you were saying in the chat you make. So it's a good way to have a more accurate perception of your performance. You can also practice with online resources. This is for part 3. Okay, so trying to speculate about photographs or any other topic, and giving you the opportunity to practice how to express agreements, how to buy time, like, that's a good question, that's a good one, let me think about it, something like that. Also, make sure you cover the options for the mind map, so you can increase your creativity, and you can give your opinion, and then ask your partner and your teacher for feedback when you are using the exam tasks. Think about the videos, right? And also check the examiner comments, and take that as an opportunity to have guidance on how to improve the things that they are doing well, the things that they could have done better. And also become familiar with the context, and also be generous with yourself. I think it is a high-stakes situation. Everyone understands that you are nervous. You are familiar with the context, okay? Make sure you know the time of the exam, the venue, that there will be an usher who will be guiding you to the exam room, what happens in the exam room. And that, I think, will help you have control your feelings a bit more. If you want to find out more about the exam day, check out our information for candidates. This is the QR code here. For your peace of mind, I think, to know what to expect, because that way you will be able to control your feelings better. And find a routine, something that works for you. I remember that I used to read aloud texts before a speaking exam, so I got used to, articulating sounds in English, and that helped me, feel more prepared. I don't know, it was something silly, but I always did it, and it worked out well, I think. And just remember that you are ready. Okay, that you have worked really hard, that you're familiar with the exam situation, you are ready. We're going to finish off with, yes, Micaela, I will go back in a minute, with the resources, okay? For you to scan them. The handout will also have them. Test and Train, our learning teaching platform for exam practice. The in-use products that I also mentioned in the session. If you have special requirements, please visit our website, check with your exam center, so we can find the best way to support you. I'm going to go through this very quickly. You asked me about how long you need to prepare for the exam, and here you can see that there is a range of time, really, and it depends on your situation, how long how long you have to prepare for the exam outside the course, if you are attending a course, if you are preparing on your own, if you live in the country, if you live in Spain or in Italy, or wherever you are in your home country. Questions about the exam day, pen, pencil, can I drink water? Again, this is the QR code to the information for candidates. Micaela, you can scan it here as well. Everything is in there, and also you can check with your exam center. There were also questions about mixing American, British English. You can use varieties of English, but be consistent, okay? Just don't mix them. Just like if you are going to use American English, stick with it. If you go for British English, stick with it. Try to rephrase Don't use the exact words from the question paper. I told you that. Don't lift questions from the rubric. And don't prepare long answers in advance. Don't memorize answers. Just be natural. These are maybe common mistakes, right? The preparing ones and the lifting words.